Hi Intelforme friends. Welcome to tutorial. In this video, we'll learn how Intelayout works and how to use this plugin inside AutoCAD to manage, organize, and control our layouts in a much faster, more visual, and smarter way. If you don't have Intelayout yet, you can get it from our official website, www.intelforme2.com. Once the plugin is installed, when you open AutoCAD, you'll find the Intelayout command in the Add-ins tab. Here it is. You can also just type Intelayout directly into the command line. Here it is. Alright. Intelayout revolutionizes the way we work with AutoCAD layouts, letting us manage all our layouts from a single palette and control their viewports directly from model space. Its main advantage is that the user can physically see, right on the model, the area corresponding to each layout and modify it dynamically, quickly, and smartly. This is super useful, especially in linear projects, big projects where you get a lot of layouts. From there, we can move, rotate, scale, and relocate the viewports, avoiding having to constantly go into each layout to make these tweaks. Alright, to show how Intelayout works in a practical way, I have this drawing here of a pavement design in an urban area. Right now, the file has two layouts, a default layout created in AutoCAD, and another one that's already completely organized. This second layout has a title block with the project's general info, the plan and profile views, a general location, and all the other necessary elements. This will be our base layout. From here, we'll create the rest of the layouts we need to cover all areas of the paving project. Before we start, I'm going to turn off the layer with the external references to make the drawing a bit lighter and work in a faster, smoother way. Now we go to Model Space, run the Intelayout command, and as we can see, a palette pops up. This is the main Intelayout palette. Also, we can see that when we run the plugin in Model Space, some outlines appear that represent the viewports of our layouts. As we saw earlier, here's the plan view. Over on this side, we have the profile view, and here's an extra view used to show the legend. These outlines accurately represent what the viewports show inside each layout. This is a huge advantage because we can always know which areas of the project we are showing, which ones aren't included, and what the limits or overlaps are between the different layouts. Alright, let's take a look at the main palette now. At the top, we can change the plugin's language. For now, Intelayout is available in English and Spanish. This table over here corresponds to the layouts. Here it shows all the existing layouts in our drawing. As we can see, we currently have two layouts. In the table at the bottom, it shows all the objects contained in the selected layout. For example, if we click on this layout, we can see that it only contains one viewport object. Now we select the layout we've already organized, and we can see all the elements it has, the title block, the different views, and the other objects we looked at earlier. If we click on a viewport inside the object table, Intelayout will automatically highlight the corresponding outline in model space. This lets us instantly identify which viewport we're selecting and know exactly which one we're going to modify. Alright, now that we understand these tables, we need to know that with Intelayout we can create a new layout starting from a base layout. To do this, we select the layout we want to use as a base from this list. Then, in this field, we assign the base name for the new layouts. Let's put, for example, plan, and we click the Create button. At this point, a context window pops up showing us a diagram of the viewports contained in the layout we're copying. As we saw, our base layout has three viewports, a plan view, a profile view, and a view showing the legend. This diagram serves as a reference so we can easily identify which of the views we are modifying at any given moment. At the bottom of the context window, we'll find the different available options. The first one is Move. This tool lets us position the viewport anywhere in model space. When we select this option, the viewport follows the cursor's movement, and we can place it wherever we want. It was originally over here, but for this example, we're going to put it in this new spot. We also have the Rotate option, which lets us change the viewport's orientation in a dynamic, practical, and easy way. This operation can normally be tricky using just the basic AutoCAD commands, but with Intelayout, we can do it straight from model space and see the result in real time. The next option is Scale. To change a viewport's scale, we have two methods. First one, do this in a dynamic, visual way to start. By moving the cursor, we can increase or decrease the border size until we get the area we want to show. Once we have the right size, we confirm the operation, and the view is set up like this. The second method lets us select the scale numerically. To do this, we click on Set and directly choose the scale we want to use. This way, we can work with all the necessary precision and set exactly the scale required for our layout. Finally, we have the OK and Cancel options. If we're happy with the new location, orientation, and scale of the view, we click OK. On the other hand, if we select Cancel, the view will be created, but it'll go back to the original position and settings it had in the base layout. Alright, all these same options also show up in the AutoCAD command line. We can use them from the context menu or directly from the command line. The result will be exactly the same. Alright, we click OK to confirm this first view. Now let's place the plan view. We move it roughly to this area, trying to cover the next 180 meters of the pavement section we want to show. Once we have the right location, we click OK or just press Enter. Finally, the view used to show the legend appears. Since we want to keep it in the exact same position it has in the base layout, we click Cancel. This way, the view keeps its original location, orientation, and scale. Perfect. We're done with the process. Intelayout has created a new layout using the selected layout as a base and applying all the settings we just defined. In model space, we can now see the borders corresponding to the new views. And if we open the layout we just created, we can verify that all the elements are organized correctly, and the plan and profile views show the new areas we just selected. We go back to model space again, and we're going to quickly create the rest of the layouts needed to cover the entire project. Alright, as you can see, Intelayout is a very handy plugin. Once all the layouts are created, let's finish explaining the other available functions. With this button, we can delete any layout. We simply select the corresponding layout from the list and click Delete. We're going to delete the first layout, which is currently empty. We select it, hit Delete, and confirm the operation. Perfect. Let's move on. In the Layouts table, we find several columns with important info about each layout settings. Here we can see the assigned printer, paper size, and print quality set up for each layout. We also have this settings icon. By clicking on it, we can directly access the print settings for the selected layout and modify its different parameters. For this example, we're going to change one of the settings so this layout is different from the rest. We can modify the print quality, for example, and set it to normal quality. We apply the changes and go back to Intelayout. Besides checking and modifying these settings individually, the plugin lets us copy the print parameters from one layout to one or more layouts very quickly. To do this, we click on the Copy button. A form will open up where we can control the whole process. In this section, we select the base layout, meaning the layout we want to copy the print parameters from. Then we select the target layouts, which are the ones we want to apply the settings to. On the right side, we have all the parameters we can copy, among them the printer, the paper size, the use of line weights, the use of transparencies, the print quality, and the other properties related to the plot settings. We can select just the parameters we need without changing the rest of the settings. For this example, we're only going to copy the print quality from this base layout to all the others. We just select this option and click OK, done. As we can see, in a matter of seconds, the new print quality has been applied to all the selected layouts. If we did this process manually, we'd have to go layout by layout and individually change the same parameter. With many layouts, this process gets slow and tedious, and with a heavy drawing, it can take hours. That's why, I repeat, Intelayout is super practical. Alright, let's move on. The next button lets us show or hide the outlines that represent the viewports within the model space. When you click, the outlines are hidden, and we can work on the drawing normally. If we press it again, the views show up once more. This tool only controls the display of the temporary outlines created by Intelayout. The actual viewports of the layouts are not deleted or modified. The next button is the Update function. We can use it whenever we make a pending change in AutoCAD. For example, in the table, we can reorganize the layouts simply by dragging the rows and placing them in the order we need. For example, let's reorganize all these layouts. Once we have the order we want, we click Update. Automatically, the AutoCAD layout tabs will take on the same order defined in the Intelayout table. This feature is especially helpful when we are working with a large number of layouts, as it lets us visually organize them quickly and keep total control over the sequence of our layouts. Alright, to finish up, Intelayout also lets us zoom directly into the area or outline of any viewport within the model space. We can do this in two ways. The first is by selecting the corresponding view and clicking the Zoom to View button. The second, much faster way, is just by double-clicking on the row in the Objects table that represents that view. Right away, AutoCAD will zoom into the corresponding area, letting us know where it is inside the model. We can also go straight to any layout by double-clicking on the layout we want inside the Layouts table. Intelayout will automatically take us to that layout. Plus, we can drag objects from one layout to another really easily. For example, I'm going to delete all the objects from this layout to leave it completely empty. Now, from another layout, I'll grab the title block and just drag it over to this layout. Done. As we can see, the object is copied, keeping the exact same position it had in the original layout. Let's do the same thing with a view. Drag it to layout. Again, it lands in same spot. This feature is super useful and practical when we need to reuse elements across different layouts without having to copy and paste them manually. And finally, we have this red relocate button, which lets us move, rotate, and scale any selected view from any layout. Let's relocate this view. For example, we select it and then click relocate. As we can see, the same options pop up that we used earlier during the layout creation process. From here, we can move the view, change its orientation, modify its scale, and adjust it exactly as we need. So even with a finished layout, we can jump back to model space whenever, choose any view, and edit it live quickly. Alright, that's it. As you could see, Intelayout is a very handy tool for managing and controlling AutoCAD layouts, especially when we are working on projects with a huge amount of layouts and viewports. Hope this plugin helps you work faster, organized, efficiently. Thanks for watching. Regards.